Like the video, we have a lot that we are unpacking today, and I'm glad you're here. So, like the video, comment, subscribe to the page, share this video with someone. Like the video, okay? Interact. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me your thoughts. I also want to shout out the inner circle who is here with me. So, y'all may hear me talking to them from time to time. So, shout out to y'all. If you are wanting to be a part of the inner circle, wanting to connect, please do go to patreon.com/minding my black ass business. There you will be able to connect with the inner circle. It's $5 a month. The first 7 days are free. There is a lot that's happening and a lot that I am going to be putting in there. So I'm trying to get the people in place. But you get access to behind the scenes information, you get access to updates about what's happening. You're the first to know the things that are happening. So tap in to the inner circle. What's up, guys? Oh no, I didn't get my water. Oh my gosh. Wait. I have to get my water. I can't do this without water.
A few moments later.
Thank you for coming. But for real, thank you for coming. Hey, y'all. I'm Kimberland, and this is the Frolicking Truth, a soft space for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal. Here, joy meets justice. We calm our Black ass nervous systems. We unmask and we leave behind whatever that is trying to kill us. You're seen here. You're safe here. And you don't have to do this alone. Hey, what's up? Welcome. Welcome to episode 15 of the Frolicking Truth podcast for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal, where joy meets justice and nervous systems get free. It's all right if you don't identify with any of those descriptors. It just means that when you come up in here, make sure that you come in to listen, to learn, and support. My name is Kimberland, and I am a motherfucking hoot. That is also a series that I'm supposed to put out that I just haven't yet. And also I be cussing. So just yeah, if you're not good with that, probably when I just dropped that MF for just now, you probably was like, eek. It's all right though, because I promise you that I still have a lot of things that I could deposit into your spirit. So if you choose to stick around, come ready to just be. All right. Just allow yourself to kind of just gradually be like, okay, all right, maybe I could let my hair down up in here because y'all be cussing too. And you know what I also found out is that people in the church be cussing. That was really last week we had talked about that and talked about the church and the types of things that happened at the church and the type of things that I've seen at the churches and all of that. And one of the things that I used to see consistently that was just had my flabbers gasted was them church folks was cussing up a storm. Y'all, do y'all know there was a period of like 7 or it might have been a good 6 or 7 years that I did not listen to any secular music at all. I only listened to talk radio and gospel. It wasn't even hardly gospel. It was really like the white people over on TBT or TBN or whatever the station is. I love cussing against the people going. It's my favorite thing to do. That was my job when I was in middle school, was to cuss people out. It was my job because I wasn't fighting. I was like, I'm too cute to fight, and girls be trying to scratch up your face and pull out your hair. I cuss them hoes out though, and then after that, I gotta go home because my mama crazy. So, yeah. But anyway, them church people be cussing. Them church would be cussing. So that was the first time that I asked myself, like, am I less of a Christian if I curse? Because they claim that they the best Christians that ever did Christian, and they be cussing up a storm. They just don't do it at the church. And then it kind of evolved into so how do we have this relationship with God? Because it don't say nothing about cussing. That cussing is a disqualifier to get you into the pearly gates, you know? And then I just said, when I feel like it, I'm gonna do it. You know why? Because I'm grown. That's why. Because I'm over 40 and I've been waiting my whole life to say that. Okay. But anyway, so that is the disclaimer for the Frolicking Truth. All right. See, one of my friends is here in the comments, and she's my cutting up partner. And she just pulls it out of me because she doubles down with me on my shenanigans, and it just be a time. So yeah, that's the flavor y'all get today. But anyway, let me get focused. So I do have some announcements. One is that the healing circle is moving to once a month, and it is because I really have to honor my capacity. I told y'all I started working more. So I am like really like locked into that time, that and those times are very much fixed. So I can't really adjust that. So then it was something that, oh, I'm doing this certification for this curriculum. So that's taking up brain space. I have a Discover Your Destiny that is running right now, as well as someone getting certified to become an intuitive melanated life coach. So it's a lot of things that are happening in my brain all at one time. And I think that moving the healing circle to once a month makes it more predictable, if you will. And announcements, clock and see. This is the Y'all gotta go watch So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese. We had a whole like clock and see applause situation. This is the issue, is that this is clocking tea. And this is applause. But people be doing this, and that's wrong. Okay, so I'm trying to help the aunties. But anyway, um, so clock this tea is that I told y'all about Vanessa, the well educator that I partnered with in New Orleans last week. I was sharing that my curriculum, she used a snippet of it in her yoga session. So anyway, I know her like in real life. So I was talking, and she is becoming a certified yoga instructor. And I was telling her about the healing circle. And I was like, what if we partnered together and you come to the healing circle and you do yoga with us? Because also the other day I had woke up and my back was like real weird. And I said, oh Lord, I need to know what's happening now. Now, what's going on? Now, this is where I draw the line. Um, I immediately thought about Vanessa, and I was like, man, I really need to do like some yoga things or whatever. So she is going to be partnering with us at the Healing Circle. Insert applause here. So our first revamped Healing Circle is the second Saturday in September. I think it's September 10th. Hold on, y'all. Let me look on the calendar. This is immediately when I start feeling old, whenever I have to go from like a here situation to a here situation, because I already can't see. And now my eyes are at the point where they want to be doing this, trying to focus. I ain't got time for this. I really ain't got time for this. These eyeballs be doing the most. So anyway, it's September 13th. September 13th will be our first revamped healing circle with partnering with the well educator, and we will have somatic exercises, we'll have breath work, we'll also have yoga and a journaling component, and it will take place immediately after the Frolicking Truth during that one time a month, and it will start at 12:30 Central. Well, actually, it's 12:30 Colombian time, and y'all's time zones be moving there in the US, which is like so wild to me now that the time doesn't move. And so I don't know what time it's gonna be when you see this, but it's gonna be Colombian time is the point. So it's gonna be 12:30 Colombian time. Okay, and then we got to do the maths from there. But anyway, so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, so shout out to Vanessa and the Well Educator and for taking me up on the offer to collaborate. Y'all be collaborating with people because that really is like what we should be doing, especially now. So speaking of collaborations, I also want to give y'all some brand bestie updates. So my brand bestie has had me in the lab, y'all. Have me in the lab. So I'm over here getting things together. And this is what it feels like. It feels like my brain has been wound up in like all these balls of yarn. And she's carefully coming in and being like, okay, so let's unravel this one. Okay. All right. So we're going to put that over here. Uh-huh. Uh-oh, we got a little knot. Let's take that out. Okay. All right. Let's unravel it. And it is the best feeling because I have, if y'all could understand the ideas and visions and like one of my friends is in here. We were sitting in what's the name of that place? Slim and Huskies in Nashville. And I was like, hey, you supposed to do retreats and it looks like this and looks like that and and it's supposed like I be having things in my brain and my brand bestie is helping me to untangle those things. And one of the biggest things that she said to me this past week that just kind of put everything in line for me because I have a difficulty with knowing which box to put things in, if you will, especially as I'm going through this process of coming back into my Kimberland J space because in my Kimberland Jackson world, because I really had like abandoned all of that and just came over here to mind my black ass business and was like, that's where I'm gonna be if you looking for me. But I put all of that, I tore it down. Hey, I ain't doing none of that no more. Erase it. And I'm gonna be over here and literally started from the bottom. Now we here. Y'all, we got like 1,370 subscribers, I think I looked this morning. Okay. So anyway, um, so I really like just came over here minding my black ass business to put everything into minding my black ass business and I just retreated from my spaces. So I am revamping the way that I do minding my black ass business because I really want it to be not about me. I really want it to be a universe that people are able to get introduced through, that other content creators are able to come and launch their pages through this platform. Kind of like if you was in church, a seed ministry. Like, so you come to this place, you learn how to do the things, you get equipped, people follow you, you get your following, then you go birth them off into their own universe. So that's how I want minding my black ass business to work. And because of that, I need to kind of moonwalk out of minding my black ass business back into my own personal space of Kimberland Jackson. So my brand bestie has been helping me do that. And what she said to me was, I was trying to figure out my friend feeling a little. She was like, "Don't be calling me out, girl, on these people internet." I ain't say your name, girl. But anyway, as I am getting back into Kimberland Jackson world, I sometimes get like, where do I put this information? Like, do I put this or something that I want to say? Do I put it in my Kimberland Jackson world? Do I put it in mine in my black ass business world? Like, what does that look like? What does that sound like? And what she said to me was, I think it's the difference between restoration and revolution. And when I tell y'all that resonated with me so deep, because I was like, that is it. Like over on Minding My Black Ass Business is very much, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. Okay, and we about to do what's right for people, and you can feel however you want to feel about it, and also tear all of that shit down, because what are y'all doing? Like, that's really what it is in Minding My Black Ass Business World. And then Kimberland Jackson World is very much like, and also, and we talked about this one time. There's this season of restoration that needs to happen after the revolution, right? So it's kind of like these two worlds that work so closely together, but they are two very distinctive voices and distinctive brands. And one of the things that has been so funny, to the point of all the brain people and all the things that be happening in my brain, is sometimes when I come into spaces, so, it's me in the universe, there's Bianca, Kalanda. So, like, when we go into each other's spaces, sometimes I go in as Kimberland Jackson, and sometimes I go in as Minding My Black Ass Business. And taking on the actual persona of those brands is really interesting, because there are things that Minding My Black Ass Business would say that Kimberland Jackson would say, but would say it a little bit differently. So that has been like so rewarding, and getting all of that sorted out, because I know that the whole point of all of this is for me to have this place for people to come, so that they are able to build their own brands and build their own worlds, which leads me to the other thing that was happening. I know I said this was announcements. This also kind of auntie check in, but anyway, we're here. So, I have started, in collaboration with some other ladies, a podcasting universe. And we have been meeting to build out what we want our collective podcast to look like. Also, very much addicted to podcasting. Like, it is so much fun to me, because I be having things to say. And I really just enjoy having like different ways to be able to say it. And I, again, show up differently in different spaces. So, anyway, we're building this podcast universe. And this past week, we were talking about the different segments that we want to do, and just hearing the synergy. There are about six of us, I think. Yeah. So hearing the synergy, and hearing how our visions overlap, and we were talking about our core values and hearing how that overlaps, it is just so exciting for me, because I can't wait for you all to hear the different perspectives, and to also, like, we're international. Like, some of them are, they're in various places in the US, and I'm here, so it's like we international from jump, and just being able to say that like in real life is so dope. So anyway, we've been working on that, and it made me start thinking about all the podcasts that I have, because I don't also think I'd be intentional about mentioning all of those. So I did want to take a moment and say that. And one of the ones that I don't really talk about a lot is Heal That Shit. So Heal That Shit is my podcast with my best friend Bianca. And basically what happened is the both of us experienced a traumatic event. So for me, it was a mental health crisis. For her, it was leading some incident that led up to divorce. And it was within a couple days of each other. And the both of us really had to shut down our entire lives and like figure things out. Both of us were very much active. We used to have another podcast called The Whole Child that we did like during the pandemic time. So, like, all of the everything just got shut down. And it was like, mic off, cameras off, what is happening? And we made a decision to start over. So Heal That Shit is the platform where we came back. It was the first space after my silence that I came back and started turning the microphone back on. So we recorded, I think we're at episode 31, maybe. We recorded this past week, and it's a production over there. As a matter of fact, let me just pull it up so y'all can see, because I had said to y'all one time, like, when you see the difference between the things that I produce and the things that Bianca produces, you can tell the difference, okay? Because the things that I produce are like so basic, and Bianca, she'll get her hands on something and it's just absolutely ridiculous. So I want to show you all what our intro looks like for Heal That Shit.
We don't run from the truth.
So I'm gonna pause it right there because I don't want y'all to get too crunk. I don't want y'all to get too crunk. Okay. Also, I don't think people say crunk anymore. What am I supposed to say? Like, so I don't know. The young people, this way I be needing y'all to clock in. Is what am I supposed to say when things get live? Why am I such an auntie? Oh my God. But anyway, so Heal That Shit is one of the spaces where I want to be more intentional of directing y'all to my favorite thing that we do on Heal That Shit is we do a spirit check and we do it using this heart system and colors. And it's just like the consistent feedback that we get is just how impactful it is for people to be able to take a moment to stop and reflect and really think intentionally how they feel. So, anyway, so you can go check that out and you can go to wehealthatshit.com and that's our website. You can get on our mailing list and get access to like our book list and all of that and come see what we're talking about over there in Heal That Shit World. The other thing is So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese, and that is my podcast with my cousin Kalanda. And we also recorded, I want to say our 30th episode, maybe. And that is a place where it's a lot of shenanigans are afoot. You know, we be talking now, we be talking. But it's a lot of shenanigans that happen over there. So if you are looking for a good time and brain field trips are just going all over the place, it is a hoot. My favorite segment from So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese is our Asking Aunties segment. And that's where people write into us with different scenarios. And then we give our wisdom and also sometimes some loving corrections because sometimes it'd be like no you shouldn't have did that nah sis sir that they's thems that's not all right so anyway, if you have not been to So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese, please do come over to that universe because that is a time as well. All right. I think that is I already talked about Discover Your Destiny going on right now. IMLC is going on right now. So and I love it because it helps me to um not see that's what I'm talking about. My friend in the comments talking about I like saying old stuff. That was the bomb. See, I think it's I want to have a healthy balance, but I also don't want to appropriate. You know, like I don't want to be sounding using the young people's language and using it incorrectly, then I become cringe. You know, I'm trying to find the sweet spot. So I feel like it's the integration of both. So I be trying to make sure that I get it right so that I don't disrespect their culture. Okay. But anyway, so let's move on to the actual Auntie check-in because it's still stuff that I wanted to tell y'all. And one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was Raina, and Raina is my hair. So I am really proud of Raina. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and we were talking about hair because we all have our hair journey, and I really did not get to meet my hair until post COVID. Well, it wasn't even post COVID. It was like 2020 when I left Florida. And it was honestly by accident, but also I used to do fake twist outs when I had relaxed hair because I just always felt like it was cute. But my thing was my conditioning with my hair was very much that it needed to be managed and I have a lot of hair. I have a lot of hair, y'all. And I know that is a blessing. And also, my fingers used to be cramped up. So then I was like, who's combing all this hair? Because people would tell me forever, like, oh my God, you should go natural. Your hair would be so cute. Like, you should go natural. And I used to be like, and who finna comb it though? Is what I'm trying to understand. And that's when I had a relaxer because I could never do a roller set right. I could never get the roots together. Like it was a lot. So thank God for my friend in the comments because baby, I used to go over to their room in college and get that good relaxer put in and been able to get it together, girl, because it was a struggle. You understand me? Okay. So when I lived in Florida, I had a stylist and I went to my hairstylist faithfully. I'm talking every 2 weeks, maybe three of times was hard, but we got to get, I didn't even own shampoo and conditioner for a really long time because I was not doing my hair. I had somebody taking care of my hair, right? So what happened was, in 2019, y'all know I had got fired and my dog had died and there was a lot that was going on, right? And then COVID had happened. So I wasn't able to go to the hairdresser. So I had put some faux locks in my hair, and that was an experience. It took like forever and ever and ever. And so then it was time to take them out because I was going to get my hair braided because I was moving to Boston. So it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm taking out the last faux lock, and I'm thinking I done detangled the hair because you know you're supposed to detangle your hair as you go when you take out the braids and things. And I thought I had did that, and then I had washed it, and then it was time to go and detangle it, and baby, it wasn't no detangling in sight. I mean, not even a little bit. Okay. And that day at 1 o'clock in the morning, I said, I'm about to cut my hair. I'm about to cut this hair off. I'm not about to sit up here for hours trying to. I was so like I'm moving. I'm selling my stuff. I don't. Hey, cut it off. Get it out of here. So I went on Facebook Live at like 1 in the morning. I'm gonna find a video and put it in here. And I was like, y'all, I'm about to cut my hair. And people was like, no, don't do it. And I was like, I'm about to do it. I got some kitchen scissors and I was like, and we're done. All right. And that's when I cut my hair. Put that right there. So it's 1 a.m. and I'm about to do a thing. I'm so nervous, but I'm gonna do it. So I just washed my hair. This is what my hair looks like right now. So I have been letting my hair grow out since like last year, and I've had like twists and stuff in my hair. So I finally took it out because I'm gonna get some new twists in the morning. And why I'm washing my hair at freaking 1 in the morning, your guess is as good as mine. But I did. So as I was trying to comb through my hair, so everyone who has ever had braids knows that you're supposed to like comb through and comb through and comb through so your hair doesn't mat. Well, I thought I did that, but it clearly didn't work because look, it's matted. But I just want to take a moment of appreciation for these curls because, mind y'all, I've had a relaxer since I was in 5th grade. Okay, you're like what, 10 in 5th grade? So I've had a relaxer for almost 30 years. And because of COVID and because of situations, I wound up not getting another relaxer. So I've just had these twists and locks and whatevers. But this is the thing. I'm not about to comb through this. I'm not doing it. I'm just not. I'm not doing it. So I'm about to cut my hair, y'all. With just like some regular scissors. Because I feel like I'm putting braids in anyway, so nobody's going to see it. And I just need to go ahead and do it, or else I won't do it. We're going to see what these curls look like. Because when I finally take the twist out, I'm going to be left with just my natural hair. So I'm about to do it. This is the thing. The only other thing that would happen is that I would have somebody do it professionally. Because I'm not about to get another relaxer. So I've never seen my curls before. I have never. I have had relaxed hair since I was 10. 10! You hear me? That's been almost 30 years. So I'm about to cut it. And you all will get to see me cut it. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Okay. Okay. All right, here I go. I'm about to do it. And I just got regular scissors. Like, I literally just decided this when I was like, let me comb through my hair so I can try to dry it for in the morning. See, like, you can clearly see the difference. So this was the relaxed hair. I'm going to do like they do on the lives. This is the relaxed hair, and then this is all of my natural hair. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Okay, here we go. I'm doing it. Oh my God. Now I have to do it. Yo, I just did it. Okay, well, here we go. So that was in July of 2020. So that was the first time I had ever seen my hair in its natural state. I had had a relaxer since I was 10, and before that I used to get my hair straightened with the pressing combs. So I had never seen my natural hair. Like I didn't know that I had curls. I didn't know what was happening. So it's been a journey to like really understand my hair. And I started out this journey trying to control Raina and be like, I want you to look like this. So I'm going to get these products and do that. And I never wanted to be a product junkie. Like I never wanted to be somebody who just had all of these different products. Like I don't need to have all of that. Um, so I've kind of over time just been like, I feel like I just need to see what she gonna do just on her own because this is a lot. And I'm not the comb your hair type of person every day. I'm not doing that. I'm not twisting my hair every day. The most I'm doing is putting on a bonnet and going to sleep. Okay. So, anyway, this is the version of Raina that all I have on my hair is leave-in conditioner and what's that lady's name? Again, this is not sponsored. I'm not getting no money for y'all going over there and doing this. But Auntie Jackie or Aunt Jackie, I don't know which one it is, but it's her curl cream and then I use the Shea Moisture Jamaican castor oil, apple cider vinegar, peppermint, some other stuff, the leave-in conditioner and water, and that's it. And I'm really pleased. Now, the thing that I'll say that helps is steaming up in the shower. So that's like the daily thing that kind of helps it to help her to stay hydrated. So I'm still figuring out that part. And I do know I think midweek I need to just do like a refresh and just put water on her. And then whatever product is lingering, then, just kind of let that be what it is. Because I feel like I'm at needing to wash my hair every 7 to 10 days. 2 weeks was a bit much because this past time that I washed my hair, it was so easy. I was in shock. It was so easy. Like I did not have to spend time like really trying to detangle and all. Like it was so easy to the point I was in the shower combing my conditioner through and I said to myself, now this feels really nice. I'm enjoying this. Like it was so easy. I want that. I want to have a good relationship with Raina. So I said all that to say, if you are in the process of, trying to meet your hair and understand your hair and your journey with your hair and all that, I think we really got to release the expectations because that's what would be having us kind of effed up is that you're trying to get your hair to do something that it is not designed to do and you're trying to get it to work against itself. Actually, what had the lady there was a lady that I met in Pennsylvania that told me her doctorate research was on natural hair. And a part of her doctoral study was how we still try to control, even within the natural hair movement, we still are subjecting ourselves to colonized thought because we're wanting our curls to operate a certain way that is not necessarily authentic to the way that our hair grows out of our head. So the conditioning has put us still in a place of self-hatred and like listening to her and talking to her about that really planted a seed for me. So that's me and Raina. Okay. And so I'm just letting her be. And we seeing what's happening because for a while there I was threatening to cut her off at like almost every day. And I felt like that wasn't very kind. So I'm trying to be kinder to Raina. Okay. So, the other thing, school is back in, y'all. And y'all's babies look some cute on these people internet. And it's so funny because we are really at the age where some of us have 20 grown adults, they out here in college and like in the real world, and then some of us have little bitty babies that's just now getting ready to go to school for the first time. It is really something, but also I'm here for it all They are so cute. They are so cute. And I just be looking at the pictures like, man, them babies getting out the way. They are getting out the way. Voices all deep, and the young ladies, oh my God, they're so cute. And just have you're seeing their personalities flourish. One of my sorority sisters, her daughter just turned 16 and she did a photo shoot. And I'm like, this is the cutest thing. Okay. So I just wanted to say that. But also, I need y'all to be careful about what you're posting about your children. Be careful about that. Okay. Because a lot of times we underestimate how people behave in this world, and this is not to be paranoid. This is why I'm also they'll throw y'all over to Bianca because she talks about like social media safety and like all of that. So don't be putting your child's teacher's name out, and like be prudent and wise in the type of information that you're putting out about your children. But also, they're so cute. And thank you for sharing because it helps me to feel connected. And so many of my friends, like from college and from like, I never got a chance to meet their kids. Um, because I left, so I left Nashville and then I was living in Florida forever and then I was stuck in an abusive relationship, so I really wasn't traveling like that. So I never got a chance to meet a lot of my friends' kids. So this is a way that I get to meet them. So please keep sharing your kids and being proud of them and teaching them how to be young people because you're raising adults. You're raising adults. And what I can say is that, so I told you I started working more. So I coach teachers and coach new teachers. So I have an abundance of teachers who are in like their early 20s and this is their first job straight out of college and they're trying to figure out what they're who they are, not to mention like we're stepping into this role of molding the future. And I can say I am overall very encouraged by this workforce, this new wave of teachers that are coming into education, um at least through the avenue that I am seeing them, that they are coming in very well aware of well, that's not. I was about to say well aware of what they're signing up for. That's a lie. That is a lie. I think they are though coming in very well aware of what is happening in the world and how important this role is. So I'm not really seeing people who are like, I'm just doing this because I needed something to do type of thing. It's more so people who are like, I was in this world or this was my experience in school and I just didn't connect and I want to change that. And like it really is really, really, really encouraging. And also, I realize I am only capturing a snippet of the people who are going into education. So I want to say two things about that. One is I need y'all, us, parents, caregivers, aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, nanas, and papas. I need us to be talking actively to the children about what they are learning in school. Okay. Because there are too many instances to count of things that are actively happening in states around the country, specifically states that are considered red states, of how they are manipulating curriculums and the type of propaganda that is embedded in the curriculums. So, I need you to be asking very, very intentional questions, right? So we're moving past how was school? It was fine. We're moving past that, right? So we're asking questions like, what did you learn today? What was something that was surprising to you? What was something that made you stop and think? What was something that, caused you to pause? What are the interactions? Excuse me. What are the interactions like with your classmates? How are your teachers speaking to you? Did your teacher say anything to you that made you feel uncomfortable? Right? So, like, we have to be very, very intentional with the questions. And this is the thing, after the questions are asked, you've got to hush and let them answer because they have thoughts. They have a lot of thoughts. They have a lot of thoughts. But one, is it safe for them to deposit those thoughts with you? Is something that you need to ask yourself. Have you created a safe environment for them to feel comfortable bringing things to you? And also, are you giving them a chance to actually speak for themselves? I had met with someone here, and they were traveling, and they had their child with them, and every time the child was about to speak, the parent spoke up for the child every time. And the child was like, I don't know, a teenager. And I could tell that the child was used to the parent doing it because every time I would ask the child something, they would intentionally like not answer. And then the parent would provide some type of answer. And I really had to say to the parent, I'm talking to them. I'm talking to them. They have thoughts. And I'm asking them about their thoughts and how they feel about what's happening. So every time that you jump in, you're cutting off their ability to be able to speak. And some of us do that with the young people that are in our lives. We try to answer for them, or we create an environment where it's impatient, or an environment where they're going to get in trouble for anything that they say. So it's past time, but it's time to really be making sure that you have a sense of safety between you and your child so that they can tell you about the things that are happening at school. Because I've told us, I don't know how many times, that schools are indoctrination centers, and it really is the luck of the draw at what school that your child gets into, what the principal is like, and what the culture is like at that school, what their teacher is like within that school. And keep in mind, especially if they're in secondary, they got six, seven teachers. So we got to ask intentional questions about what's happening so that we are able to support them as they're trying to figure things out. This is also, side note, why I love Forever so much, the series on Netflix, because they really explored how we as adults impact young people in their decisions based on the ways that we frame things, based on the ways that we interact, based on the ways that we talk or don't talk to them. So we don't, I'm saying all this to say there's a sense of urgency because depending on what school and what curriculum and all of that that is being used, your child can be walking into a school where they are telling them things like slavery was just unpaid working, and the slaves were, I'm sorry, they're not slaves in this alternate universe. The unpaid workers were very happy to do their working because they received compensation in housing and food. And they even got to go to church on Sunday. And the good white people taught some of them how to read. It is such a whitewashed version of things that are actually happening in schools. And I'm talking about real things that's happening in Florida. Okay. So I said all that to say we got to tap in, and also teaching ourselves and our children how to discern the difference between fact and opinion, and actual factual evidence versus just somebody saying something and saying it loud, but there's no factual evidence to support that. So that's something that we also need to build in ourselves, especially with AI, because AI is tearing us loose, tearing us loose. Okay. So we've got to have a level of skepticism that we are approaching things with so that we don't find ourselves down the rabbit hole of propaganda. So those critical thinking skills that we've been talking about, school is back in. the social emotional learning competencies, thinking about self awareness and self management and social awareness and empathy and building positive relationships and making responsible decisions. Y'all remember that wheel I had showed y'all? I'm gonna put it here for you in post, okay? Um, we have got to be intentional with thinking. So school is back in for the babies, but it's also back in for us. Okay. So I want y'all to tell me in the comments what you are learning about and what you are educating yourself on so that you are able to support yourself and your children. All right. It's 11:11. All right. So here we go. I don't really know what I'm calling this episode, but one of the things that I know is that we need to strap in. We need to strap in because things are getting wilder by the second. Okay. And I mean by the second. Like it is so much that is happening. So the other day, and when I say the other day, I believe I mean Sunday. Trump militarized and occupied Washington D.C., the District of Columbia, the capital of the United States of America. And I want us to listen to what he said, and then I want us to listen to what the people are saying, and then we're going to come back to this on the other side.
It is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
It's not about crime. This is about control.
Whose city? Our city. Whose city?
President Donald Trump's plan to take over the U.S. Capitol's police and deploy the National Guard has sparked protests. Critics are doubting his claim that Washington, D.C. is plagued by
crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor.
I've lived here 50 years, and it's a safe place. I raised my children here. It's a safe place.
The White House says D.C. recorded the fourth highest homicide rate in the country last year. The city's police data suggests violent crime peaked in 2023, but has since hit a 30-year low, dropping by 35% in 2024 and by a further 26% this year so far. Numbers aside, some are wondering if the move is even legal. Trump is bypassing D.C.'s elected Democratic government, but unlike the 50 U.S. states, the U.S. Capitol has a unique relationship with the federal government that limits its autonomy. D.C. legislation allows the president to exert control over its police force if certain conditions warrant it. The president also has direct control over the D.C. National Guard, again unlike in the 50 U.S. states where the governor holds that authority. So deploying troops to the U.S. Capitol will be different than Trump's decision to send them to Los Angeles in June without the approval of California's governor, a move the legality of which is now being reviewed in federal court. City officials have rejected the accusation they face a crime emergency and said they are considering legal options. Meanwhile, Trump has suggested to reporters that other major U.S. cities, specifically those under Democratic leadership like Chicago, New York, or Baltimore, could be next.
If they can strip the autonomy of the capital city, of a major city like Washington, D.C. in broad daylight, if they can place us under military control without our consent, they will carry this playbook to every community that dares to push back in the United States of America.
I talked to us a couple weeks ago about the bill that criminalized homelessness, addiction, and mental illness. And I talked about how dangerous that is and the impact that that can have on people. And we specifically were talking about mental health. There's the overlap in between all of those things. There's an overlap with people who experience a mental health crisis, who turn to addiction or become addicted by particular substances that give them relief from thinking about what has happened to them, which can ultimately lead to them losing everything, or they can lose everything and then wind up homeless, fall into, like, it's a very much three-pronged um connection and intersection of things. So one of the ways that they are using the National Guard right now is to arrest unhoused people in Washington, D.C., to quote unquote clean up the streets. They're also talking about that there are young people. They're saying there are groups of young people who are terrorizing the city, and there is so much crime that is happening, and they're relentless and they're thugs, and they are, we need to take our city back. And what I need us to understand, and why I have been really talking about us using our critical thinking skills, is there are conditions that create violence. So when people do not have enough food, when people, I showed us Maslow's hierarchy of needs before, but I'll pull it back up here. So this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And these psychological needs that are down here at the bottom: air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction, those psychological needs have to be in place for someone to be able to build upon that and to be a functional and uh, a functional human being who is contributing positively to the world. What happens with the government is they play with all of these things at the bottom. So they play with the air, the water, the food, the shelter. They play games with these psychological needs. And when people do not have their psychological needs met, there is no way for them to feel safe. There is no way for them to connect with other people. There is no way for them to connect with themselves. So it creates conditions where people are fighting each other and not fighting the system, right? That's one of the things we've talked about several times as well, is honoring the system that is at play, that is making all of these conditions happen. So right now what they are doing is they are talking to homeless people and basically saying to them that if the shelters are full, they have to either be involuntarily committed or they have to go to jail. And that is how the National Guard is being used in DC right now. And it really makes me think about the conversations that we've been having about humanization and humanizing people, and understanding that that is a person, and this person has experienced some type of situation that has caused them to not have their basic needs met, but they're being framed as nuisances, as dangerous, as anything but someone who has value. So what it does is it teaches the rest of us to turn a blind eye to what is happening, because that doesn't affect me. Not realizing that at any point in time, any of us could be in that situation. At any point in time, any of us could be in that situation. Especially as Black women, the last numbers that I saw, they said that there are over 300,000 Black women who were impacted by the eradication of DEI initiatives and are experiencing this mass job loss. Like, at any time, this could happen to any of us if we step out of line. So, where is our empathy for what that looks like and sounds like, so that we are not supporting the system that is causing us harm, right? So I go in the comments every so often because I want to make sure that I have a pulse on how people are thinking. And granted, some of this may be bots, but some of it is actual people that I know in real life commenting. But I've seen comments where people are like, well, the crime is getting out of control. And, this does, need to happen. And then you listen to the mayor of DC who statistically is talking about the crime rate is down by 30%, and it's down 26% from what it was last year. Like over the past few years, the crime rate has been going down, and it's because they decided to police a different way and they're focusing on building communities. So the data doesn't support what the administration is saying is happening, that they're using to justify why they were able to occupy DC. The other thing is that DC is not a state. And in the Constitution, which I don't know how long they're gonna continue trying to operate within the Constitution and putting up the facade that they're operating within the Constitution, but the way the Constitution is written is that there are state rights. So states are able to govern themselves, and then there are certain things that the federal government governs. So DC is not a state, so therefore they don't have state rights. So the federal government is able to do them any which way that they want, because they don't even have the voting power as a state to be able to govern themselves as other states do. So it's loopholes. It's like basically they found the different loopholes that they can take to be able to dismantle the system. Now, what's also interesting is that DC's mayor is a Black woman, Muriel Bowser. And one of the first things that when they had started like moving this line outwardly is when they made her erase the Black Lives Matter mural in DC, which interestingly enough, I actually did get a chance to see. I've only been to DC once. I actually got stuck in DC for some weeks because my car had broke down. F Hyundai. That's what I want to say about that. But anyway, so I was stuck in DC for some weeks, but one of the things that I did while I was there is I did go to see the White House, and I took a picture in front of the White House. Also, this is when Biden was still in office. I also went to, what was it, the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, like the whole park situation over there. I did not have a chance to go to the Smithsonian. This was still post-COVID time, so they weren't really letting people just walk in. It was very much you had to like make appointments and get tickets, and I wasn't able to go there. But anyway, one of the places that I did want to stop was at that Black Lives Matter mural, and I did. And that's one of the first things that they made her pick up when he got into office. So they've been doing her any kind of way the whole time. And also a lot of it though, I'm gonna say this and I mean it from my soul, the Democrats be real complicit in a lot of the stuff that's happening. And I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole for real, but she has done things that have made it that much easier for them to do what they're doing, because her decisions have not really been about the people sometimes. So, um DC is a city that is governed by a Black mayor. Baltimore, which, the DMV area, is a city that is governed by a Black mayor. Chicago has also been mentioned, which is another city that is governed by a Black mayor. And there's one more that I can't remember right now. But anyway, these cities have also been put on alert that this can also happen to you. And depending on the state that these cities are in, there is wiggle room for this regime to do what they want by militarizing the city and sending in the National Guard. They already tried to do this in Florida with the immigration situation, right? So, which brings me back to why we cannot just be like, that's a them problem. Because it's a all of us problem. Because many people have sat and watched what is happening to immigrants and been like, well, they shouldn't have voted for Trump. Do y'all not understand how broad the spectrum is of immigrants? Immigrants are not only people who are from Latin American countries, and also Latin American countries are not all the same country. So a lot of people, for instance, have issue with Cuban people because Cuban Americans have a history of being right winged and aligning with Trump ideologies. Cuba is one country. One country. We cannot lump all Latin people in, all Hispanic people, all Spanish speaking people into one pot and be like, F all of them. Also, there are many immigrants who are black. There are also Afro Latinos and Latinas who are black. They just happen to have gotten dropped off in a country that was colonized by Spain, but they are black people. So our this is these are ways that we have subjected our own selves to propaganda and have internalized that and then externalized that against other people because they have a differing from us. But anyway, with all the stuff that's been happening in California, and there's currently legislation that's going on right now with California suing the US because Trump deployed the National Guard to California to try to help round people up with immigration. Then they are continuously pumping money into ICE. And they're at the point these people are making six figures. There are no education requirements to be a part of ICE. Their starting salary is like 125,000. I want to say a manager I think is like 254,000, I believe I saw. And then they are getting student loan forgiveness. They are like meanwhile, teachers. I ain't never made six figures in my life ever. And I've been in education for 19 years. I didn't even get past $70,000 until I went to work in Pennsylvania with the Department of Education. Teachers, the profession that is responsible for educating the entire country. That is who ain't never seen that kind of money. So now you have the opportunity for people who there are no education requirements. So now they have the ability to be able to access those same things that we was talking about on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now they can secure their shelter, they can secure food, they can like this is a safety thing for some people. Safety as far as how they're going to be able to take care of themselves, because that's the other thing that the US does is condition us to operate individualistically and outside of community. So we dehumanize people and we say, I don't care about them. They shouldn't have been here anyway. They should have came legally. Da 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 da. And it's like we don't know these people's stories. You have no idea what has happened in these people's lives. And just because they speak a different language or because their eyes or their hair are different or they have more or less melanin in their skin, like how are we divorcing ourselves from that and being like, F them? That's a heart issue. That's a heart issue. I wore my green today for the heart chakra. That's a heart issue that we got to deal with. That's a place where we need to do some investigation and we really need to dig into how we've been conditioned to treat people that way and to turn a blind eye and turn our eye towards the fact that this is a big social experiment and it's giving them opportunity to be able to target certain types of people. So we've had immigrants, we've had unhoused people, people who experience mental illness, people who are living with addiction. Now we have young black youth because that's what they're talking about on the DC streets. There's a cleansing that's happening, and we have to pay attention to that. So, what I need us to do as one of the first steps in this is I need us to connect back to our empathy because We cannot allow them and their hatred and their heartlessness to use us as agents of white supremacy culture and dehumanize other people and disconnect from our empathy and compassion. We cannot do that. We cannot do that. That is not how we are designed to be. If you are over here, it's because you have light in you and you see light and you understand light. And we are not designed to operate at such a low vibration, if you will. So, our work is to connect ourselves back to our empathy and to our humanity so that we are able to see the humanity in other people and not be okay with people causing harm and us just being totally fine with it, or lumping people in and just being like, well, that's what y'all voted for. Who is y'all? Who is y'all? Even if you wanted to have that type of mindset towards individual people, but the collective, y'all, like y'all just throwing away whole groups of people. That's wild. That's wild. That's not everybody. Okay. So, our soul work for the week: how are you connecting back to your empathy? How are you connecting back to your empathy? I want you to tell me in the comments what that looks like for you, what that sounds like. And it might be empathy for your own self. That might be where you need to start. Okay. So, how are you connecting back to your empathy? What if the thing you've always called too much was the exact thing God designed on purpose? This is for the ones who've always known they were different. Too sensitive, too loud, too knowing, too intuitive, too woo woo. But what if your sensitivity is actually your superpower? What if your intuition was your inheritance? Discover Your Destiny is a 10-week sacred journey back to yourself. We explore the design of your soul, your spiritual gifts, and the unique way that God speaks to you. This isn't church. It's not a rule book. It's not a performance. It's the moment you stop chasing approval and start walking in divine alignment. You'll gain clarity, language, and confidence around who you are and what you are here on the earth to do. You'll learn the real voice of God. And if you feel called to go on to become a certified intuitive melanated life coach, this is where that path begins. There are 2 ways to enter this sacred container: the Destiny track, full investments and coaching experience, or the Divine Exchange track, where internship meets soul work. You'll support podcasting, content creation, or brand development behind the scenes while learning how your unique gifts benefit the collective. Your knowing isn't a flaw, it's the fingerprint of God. This is your invitation, and I hope that you'll answer. All right, so the last thing that I really want to talk about is an update from a case that I had reported on back when I was with Beautiful Brown Girls, because I remember I was very much outraged and am still very much outraged. So I wanted to, this is our Frolicking in the Feed segment. So I wanted to bring us back to this story about this young lady named Shanquella Robinson. So Shanquella, actually, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play a piece of the video from I'm Not a Lawyer But Mel Goolsby. If you don't follow her page, please do. She is a part of the Kev on Stage universe. She is Kev's wife's Melissa's sister, so Kev's sister-in-law. But anyway, she's carved out an amazing space on TikTok and YouTube where she is really digging into the legal system and how the legal system works. And it is fascinating and brings so much insight into the way that laws are written and the way that laws operate and the way the legal system works. It's really really fascinating. So anyway, let me play the first couple minutes of this video where Mel explains and gives the background about Shanquella.
Shanquella Robinson case. She was a 25-year-old from North Carolina who went to Cabo, Mexico with her friends, and hours later, she was not alive anymore. Well, Shanquella's mom, Salamandra Robinson, has now sued that group of friends, the FBI, and the State Department. And I'm not a lawyer, but I read all the documents to get caught up. So let me give you a recap on what Shanquella's mom is saying happened to her daughter, what the friends are saying in their defense, and why the judge has already dismissed the claims against the FBI and the State Department. Here we go. So again, the lawsuit was filed by Shanquella's mother, and it was filed against Imani Green, Elise Hyatt, Malik Dyer, Winter Donovan, Khalil Cook, and Nazir Tyree Wiggins, who are all collectively known as the Cabo Six, as well as the FBI and the State Department. It's worth noting that Imani Green is the person who actually got into the physical altercation with Shanquella, and she was previously known as Dejanay Jackson, but after this incident happened, Dejanay Jackson changed her name to Imani Green. So according to the lawsuit, back in October of 2022, Shanquilla's friend Khalil Cook invited her to join a last-minute trip to Cabo with a group of friends. Some of the original guests invited to the trip dropped out, and so Khalil extends the invite to Shanquilla, and she agrees. Between the 28th and 29th of October, everybody in the group arrives to the villa in Cabo, which is evident by this sign-in sheet. But not long after everyone arrives, the suit says that Imani, quote, brutally attacked Shanquilla in one of the bedrooms at the villa. Shanquilla was fully exposed while Imani attacked and repeatedly punched her all over her body. According to the lawsuit, the remaining 5 people in the group didn't intervene to help or stop the attack. They all just watched on, some of them recording with their phones, and one person allegedly FaceTimed Imani's boyfriend so that he could watch and cheer his girlfriend on as this attack happened. So according to the lawsuit, after the altercation happens, the group of 6 waits hours before calling to request medical assistance for Shanquilla. And when they did call, they said that Shanquilla was dehydrated and needed to be treated for alcohol poisoning. Now, as far as what happened when the doctor actually arrived to the villa, that's all documented in the doctor's report that she gave about 2 weeks after the incident. So everything I'm going to tell you about what happened next is going to all come from this doctor's report.
I'm going to put the link to the video into the chat in case you want to go and get the rest of the story. But I'm going to basically just summarize what happened from here. All right. All right. So basically, what Mel starts going through is that the friends were asked several times to call 911 and get Shanquilla to the hospital. And the doctor reported it was like 3 times that she was like, y'all need to get her to a hospital. Y'all need to get her to a hospital. Y'all really need to get her to a hospital. If we wasn't getting her to a hospital before, we need to get her to a hospital now. They also mentioned that the doctor's hands were tied because the doctor cannot force, unlike in the US, her or the friends to take her to the hospital. Like she doesn't have the right to be able to force that to happen. The friends, while the doctor is encouraging them to get Shanquilla to the hospital, are like, oh, she gets like this, she'll be fine, it's fine, everything is fine. So then when it became evident that shit really wasn't fine at all, they packed their shit and left the next day. Then to add insult to injury, 2 of them went to Shanquilla's mother's house and told the mother that they wanted to offer their condolences that Shanquilla died from alcohol poisoning. So then the mother, there was a viral video. So the video that Mel showed, and Mel goes through all of this. So then the video goes viral where they were fighting and where they had FaceTime Imani, who is the girl who beat her, who also changed her name, which is wild. Where Imani was fighting Shanquilla and they had FaceTime her boyfriend so the boyfriend could cheer Imani on. And like, side note with all of this fighting culture, y'all, I don't know why this is what we're choosing to do. Right. And I was being funny earlier when I was saying that, but I was also being serious that my job in school was to curse the people out that wanted to fight us. My job was never to fight. I'm not doing that. Like what is this? No. Keep your hands, feet, and objects to yourself. Period. Learn some fucking conflict resolution skills. That's not cool. It's not cute. It is dangerous. It's one of the reasons why I stopped watching reality TV shows because my girls were coming into school and they were fighting. And I'm talking busting heads on concrete, like brutal fights over dumb shit. And I really, it's what made me start my mentoring program, because I was like, we don't have to have these types of relationships with other women. It is very possible for us to have positive relationships with women that are uplifting and feel collaborative and feel there's care involved. So, anyway, the mama sees the video, and that's how the mama finds out that what her daughter's friends came to the house to tell her happened to her daughter happened. That it wasn't no alcohol poisoning. So then the other thing that Mel goes into is how the US government did not do their due diligence in doing the investigation. So the mama sued the government. The government dismissed it because the government was like, your issue is that not that we didn't investigate, we did. Your issue is that the manner in which we investigated, you ain't like it. You can't sue us for that. And what I imagine is like this cop show where cops are sitting there and they're like, oh, look at this case. Look at this case, Rob. A girl down in Mexico looks like she drank too much. The mom saying that they had a fight. You know, those blacks, they fight. They like to fight. They're savages. So the mom wants us to go figure out what happened in Mexico. In Mexico, why are they taking this to us? Huh? Why are they talking to us about this shit? Huh? Go talk to those fucking Mexicans. Like, we don't know what the fuck happened with this. Like, oh my God, this is so fucking stupid. Send somebody out there and go ask a couple questions. And yeah. Like, that's what I imagine happened in the office when Shanquella Robinson's case slid across the desk. So the mom, rightfully so, is like, y'all didn't even take the time to investigate what happened, because you know what actually happened is that Mexico the whole time has been trying to get justice for Shanquella Robinson. Mexico has asked them to extradite that girl Imani back to Mexico so that she can face charges for killing this girl. And you know what the U.S. government did? Didn't respond to the extradition request. The US government trying to kick the can down the road, but also not even helping Mexico do what Mexico is trying to do, because Mexico is like, send her down here. Cause we not going for that. The doctor, the entire time, the way that she outlines all of the notes of what happened when she went to check on Shanquilla, like, it is so detailed. Y'all got to watch the video. But like, she really outlines all the things that happened. They was trying to get Shanquilla help from the jump in Mexico. And during this time, a lot of what was happening is people was like, y'all need to stop going down there to that country. You know, them Mexicans, they this and they that and da 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 da. And we've let our bias influence us, because that's not even what happened. Mexico has been trying to get justice for Shanquella and her family this entire time, and the U.S. government has not been cooperating. You know why? Because Shanquella doesn't matter to them. And it just really puts me in a place of being like, we gotta check. We've got to check our bias and our racism, and we've got to be careful. Y'all, I've been through a lot. And one day I'm gonna make a video and talk about everything that happened to me when I was in Mexico City, and thinking somebody was my friend and turning out that they were not in any way, shape, or form. Like, I am going to talk about that one day in detail. But this is what I want to say. We have to be so careful about who we align ourselves with, and especially who we travel with, because those people claim to be her friends. Those people claimed to be her friends. They claimed to care about her in some way, shape, or form where she felt comfortable leaving the country with those people. And they killed her, and they left it. They done changed their names. They still saying I ain't actually touched nobody, so I ain't responsible for that. So you to count me out. But you sat there and you watched and you cheered it on and you didn't say anything. You didn't go tell nobody the truth. Like, we got to be careful. We've got to be careful. Our discernment has to be on level 10,000. I'm a big fan of solo travel, because, and I know that might sound like an oxymoron in that you just say be careful, you would want to be with somebody that you know has your back and all that kind of stuff. But I'm a big fan of solo travel because a lot of times we wind up in situations that we don't want to be in because we're trying to appease somebody else. A lot of times things happen because we not honoring ourselves. We doing what group think, what the group wants to do. And then things happen. I'm a big fan of solo travel because I feel like solo travel allows you to really get what you need to get out of this experience. And then you are able to connect with people while you are there, but you also are taking agency for yourself, because I've heard so many stories. It's happened to me. I remember one time I was friends with this lady and we had gone to the Bahamas for her birthday, and she had been drinking, and we were on the beach and she broke her fingernail, and she took off running down the street to go get her nail fixed. She's there with two others of us. So she was like 20 something, I'm gonna say maybe 25. And I was maybe about 8 or 9 years older than her. So I might have been like 34 or something like that. And then there was a lady who was a little bit older than me. She takes off running. No money, no phone, no shoes, running down the streets in the Bahamas because her nail broke to go get her nail fixed. So I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? So I go off, I make arrangements with the other, here's my phone, here's my thing, give me her purse, like, give me this. I go and I find her. And I find her in this nail shop. And she's getting the nail fixed, no shoes, no money. No, I'm like, how are you going to pay for this? Y'all know she got mad at me. She got mad at me and said I was treating her like a child. And that's when I realized, oh, y'all just be making reckless decisions. Like your frontal lobe is really not fully developed. This is wild. I need us to be wise in the decisions that we make. And I need us to be wise in the people that we choose to go out of town, out the country with. I've heard stories of people getting stranded in places because somebody left them, somebody who claimed to care about them. I need us to be very intentional with the way that we travel and whom we travel with. And I think that it is a lot safer sometimes for us to rely on ourselves to stabilize ourselves as opposed to aligning ourselves with people who may not have our best interests at heart. So I am praying that Shanquella's mom is able to get some sense of justice regarding what has happened to her daughter. And I don't know. It's an interesting situation because everybody is black in this situation. And I don't know how it's going to play out. I think it's going to be a very interesting tell about how the justice system is going to treat situations in regards to what happens to black women, in regards to what happens in foreign countries. I think I think a precedent is going to get set because of this court case, because of this lawsuit. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't have a lot of faith that the mom is going to get justice. And that makes me really, really sad because what happened to Shanquilla was not okay. And it very much feels like it was a setup. And yeah. So y'all go watch the video and get up to speed. And I'm sure Mel will be following this case, but get up to speed about what happened with Shanquilla Robinson And yeah. The last thing I want to say is that Gathered, by this time, this will air on Saturday, but the new episode of Gathered is dropping. Oh, it was yesterday, so y'all go look at it. And this episode was with Kareen Taylor, who I know from college. She is one of my sorority sisters, one of my pro fights. She's also an environmentalist and an environmental justice advocate and attorney. And she really dropped some knowledge and had me thinking a lot about the way that I interact with the earth.
Environmentalism broadly is protecting our natural resources, especially in this hyper politicized place where we are. That has become, for whatever reason, seen as a left thing. Really should be an us thing. If you do want to advocate to protect lands or water, you're going to immediately come against corporate interests who want access to those lands to build something or to take those trees down to create a biofuel. They might be polluting in that water. Corporate interests have not historically prioritized the environment. We have, where you grew up in Louisiana, a whole area called Cancer Alley. These are petrochemical, which they make plastics and a whole bunch of things, these factories. And factories typically, when they're built, are going to be adjacent or close to a body of water, emitting whatever into the air. As a capitalist society, our goal is to make as many things and have people consume and buy as many things. But in addition to creating products, we're creating pollution. The result of that is typically there's more air pollution in those areas. The air quality is bad. The water in those areas are bad. And when we think about things from a historical perspective, companies, when they build their factories, are going to look for land that's cheap, areas where there won't be much opposition to their projects. They're going to look for people and communities that lack political power and don't have the ability to push against them and to cause issues. And historically, that means communities of color will be the placement of those most harmful projects, those most harmful facilities. And so then the direct impact of that is if the community lives there, their property value goes down, their quality of life goes down because they're going to be inhaling more air that's polluted by those facilities. They're going to be, drinking that water. And because all of that pollution is happening, there's going to be an increase of health risks, asthma, respiratory problems, cancer. If you're only looking at being an environmentalist in the traditional way, going outside to camp, I'm going outside to, save these birds. All of those things are important and they're really great indicators of health and quality. But the direct impact of capitalism and where the most harmful facilities are, it's going to be where Black people are.
The title of the episode is My Body is My First Earth. So it is really good. So y'all go check that out. Leave comments, drop some sunflowers on there, and think about what that means to be an environmentalist. All right. Okay. I think that's it. That's all. I hope that things are well in your spaces. Please do leave me a comment about all the things that resonated with you. And if you want, you can leave 17 individual comments because that all helps the algorithm. Okay. But please do leave me a comment about any and everything that resonated with you. Please share this with someone else who may be searching and may be looking and looking for community, looking for a safe space. I want to again shout out all our new subscribers. I want to shout y'all out because congratulations, you have found a space to be able to get some healing and to spread that healing to others. So, shout out to y'all. Please bring some more people with you, other like minded people who are looking for an area where they can get to know more about themselves and know more about other people. All right. I want to close with this thought. Critical thinking isn't about winning arguments. It's about loving enough to ask better questions. Because when we think deeply, we see people more clearly. And when we see people more clearly, we love them better. All right? So I want y'all to take that Take that to the heart. Again, our soul work this week is how are you connecting back to your empathy? I will see you all next week. Drop me some love in the comments. Drop some sunflowers in the comments. Thank you, Inner Circle, for hanging out with me. Alrighty, I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Frolicking Truth, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get free. Please be sure to like, rate, and comment. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Minding My Black Ass Business, and follow me on all social platforms. Until next time.